once again, my name is Olanyika Aremu. I am the founder and CEO of Synergy International Nursing Network, partnering with Victory Abraham. You have met Victory already. So I'll be talking about interview guidance package and getting the job you desire. So what do you do when you have an interview, when you receive that email or that test that you have been invited for an interview? Now, this presentation will cover every form of job, any type of job. This is not just a nursing job or maybe midwifery job as we are planning. So if anyone is seeing this at any point in time, it can be applicable to you. You're looking for a job as maybe a student, you're looking for an internship role and all that. All these are applicable. Now, I need to be telling Victory next slide now because I was doing next slide my own. Okay. So I need to do this so it's more clear. What are the types? These are the things we're going to do today. I'm going to talk about the types of interview, how to specifically prepare for a nursing interview. What do you do on the day of the interview? What are the common nursing interview questions you come across? And of course, interview case scenarios for nurses and midwives. Then we're going to have a practical break room, just like 5 minutes. And then I'll talk about what happens after your interview and we'll take your questions and answer, if that is all right. Now, talking about types of interview, the most common type, which is the face-to-face, that you have to travel to a location and meet up with somebody, with your interviewer or with the panel. That's the most common. Yes, that happens as well. And there are strategies that you need to, like the tips that you need to apply. We have some common tips that apply to all of this, but there are some specific ones that we're going to talk about today. So for a face-to-face interview, of course, you need to be there promptly, you need to be punctual, you need to appear well, dress well, and all that. So it's important that you also put into consideration active listening very well, and the body language, face eye-to-eye contact, and all that. So, but some people that might be shy, I know, or there's this kind of tension around it when oh, this and I'm being interviewed, and people can be tense. That is normal. So it's not abnormal, but preparation will actually prepare you ahead to overcome any challenges of a face-to-face interview. Now, the other type is telephone interview. So I've actually had some interview. Basically, most common interview in this type may be a medical assessments. They just want to do a checklist and all that. So I've had this before as well. So you can have telephone interview. You don't have to see the person, but the same information will be asked from you, and they still expect you to be so eloquent, to talk properly, and all that. So for a phone interview, definitely you can be in your room, you can be anywhere. But of course, you need to consider the environment, the calmness, no noise, no interference, all that. Making sure that your phone, maybe you put it on a silence, or you disable every other call that may come in, so not to interrupt that process. So then the third one, which should be specifically applicable to our situation now, is the video interview. So a video interview, most of the time you'll be sent a link. Once you have the invitation, you'll be sent a link for you to click in. It could be Zoom. So the common apps that are used: Zoom, Skype, most of the time, Websco, Cisco. Yeah, Cisco Web. That's another one that is happening now. I just had one some hours ago. So those are the common apps. So if you don't have this app, you need to download the app on your, on your laptop, on your phone, so you can access it. So for a video interview as well, your appearance matters, which is, most people don't know this. They feel like, oh, well, it's video. So you still need to dress the same way you would go for, for a face-to-face interview. You need to see me the way I was dressed for my interview. So you need to be dressed, you need to be on time, and all these things we are still going to mention about. So those are the types of interview. Now, just move my cursor here. Now, before your interview, what do you do? Because we need to go ahead and prepare. Yeah, somebody said, interview, your success rate at interview depends on your preparation, your practice, and of course, the word pause. You being able to pause in between and think. So I'm going to start with the preparation. Before your interview, you need to do research. How many of you have done research before at one point or the other? Maybe as an undergraduate, nursing school, whatever, you have done research, right? Research means finding out something that you don't know or you want more information about. So you need to research the employer. So specifically for those that will be coming, the midwives or psychiatric nurses that we are recruiting for our clients here. Okay, so you will have an invitation. So you'll be able to know who your employer is. Is it maybe a nursing home, a public hospital? You might be given a particular name. Okay, so and Richie just admits that person there. Right, you may be given a particular name. So you need to research that employer. If you're not given a particular name or you don't know the name, usually, honestly, you would be given a name that, okay, we are recruiting you. For instance, I work in the Mater Hospital. So what you need to do is to go and research about Mater. What do you want to know about? So, like, what are their visions? What do they stand out for? What's the culture? You know, what is, maybe they have some remarkable achievements. So find out about this. Find out about the location. Find out about their, you know, if you go to their website, they always have about to vision, mission, and all that. Just do like a quick research so that.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Yinka. I can't see the person you're asking me to invite.
I did already.
Oh, okay.
All right. So basically, you just need to research the employer, know more about them, know more about their vision, what do they stand for, you know, things like that is very important. They also need to research about your role. Most of the time, you'll be given, you're applying for a job, maybe as a staff nurse, okay, or staff midwife. So in this way, what is your role? Are you coming in as just a staff nurse or a clinical nurse manager, or you're coming in as a practice nurse? Now, attached to this will be job descriptions. So you need to research about what are my job descriptions. This usually comes with any advert or whatever, so you find it. So what are the job descriptions? Now, let me just tell you this. It would be wrong for you, very wrong of you, to go into an interview without knowing the job description. You know why I said it? I have made this mistake myself of recent, yes. Not because I didn't know what to do, but because I had, you know, when you had lined up of interviews, I applied for so many jobs and I kind of even forgot which one is which. So on this particular day, I actually made a mistake by putting, you know, I was talking about another job description in another interview. So these are common mistakes. They happen, they are very silly, but then you need to guide against this. So know your job description. If you are coming as a staff nurse in a nursing home, what are you expected to do? So if you don't have this, you should ask, I need the job description. Okay, if they didn't send anything to you, ask for it and go through it, because this will give you an idea of what you're coming in to do actually. Now, the third thing you need to do before your interview is to research the interview panel. Yes, where possible, interview panel. Sometimes you will be told who will be interviewing you. Yes, I've received a lot of emails for interview and they will say so person will be in the panel for the interview. Why do you need to know about them? Sometimes most people have, you know, their way of dealing with things, of asking questions. You want to know, what is this person particular about? What is the area of interest? If the person on the panel, maybe one of them is a gynecologist or, you know, maybe family practitioner and all that, you might want to like think of, okay, this is a likely question that can be asked. So kind of knowing the personality of the people coming to interview you will go a long way to help you ease your tension and to prepare ahead. Okay. Now, so still about preparing for your interview, like I said, you need to practice and you need to plan. So first of all, I'll talk about practice because that's what it wouldn't matter after listening to this presentation or after watching this video, you haven't practiced, or you just put it aside and you don't practice. So what will make a difference is that you are able to practice rehearse. If possible, get a partner that you will sit with, that you will just talk about, run through some questions, some common questions. If you're married, it could be your husband, it could be your child, it could be your friend. Just rehearse this as if you are in front of somebody. Tell the person to ask you a question and you respond. While you're doing this, you are increasing your confidence, your boldness. If there is nobody for you to rehearse with, somebody has taught me, stand in front of a mirror and talk to the mirror as if you are answering the mirror. You are giving answers to the mirror. In a way, when you're doing that, you are reflecting on yourself, you are looking at your body language, you are looking at your facial expression, like you are rehearsing this and you are gaining confidence when about expressing yourself. Apart from practice, you need also to plan. Yes, what do you wear? I don't know if anybody has seen any video clips or whatever where somebody goes for an interview and just dress casual. You're going for a formal, irrespective of whether formal or informal job, you're going for an interview, you should dress formally. Yes, what I mean formally, I know there is, that we have a general concept of a formal dressing. So dress formally. It doesn't mean you don't have to wear a suit, but make sure that you have a corporate dress, neat, well ironed, well tailored, not rumpled. Even before, because it is video, doesn't mean that your clothes should be rumpled, or that you should put. Some people will put on what's it called, something for their like headband or something. You just put it on your nightcap, pajamas. No, you need to dress formal. Now, what do you take with you to an interview? Because it is a video interview, that doesn't mean that you should just talk. It also involves you taking down notes, jotting down. It is to be good for you if you have a copy of your CV right in front of you, okay? Because most of the questions, we're still going to do the question, they might ask you some particular thing from your CV. So it would be handier for you to have it by your side, so you could just take a glance, okay, and then answer the question. So you need the CV. If possible, you have any of the documents with you, put them beside you. Means of identification is also very important. Some employers might ask you, or some interviewer might ask you to identify yourself. Maybe you need a passport, okay, very important. Put it beside you. National ID card, anything to, a formal means of identification is something you should have handy with you, okay? And as well, writing pads. You need a pen, because when you are being asked a question, you should take notes. So nobody expects you to be a robot that you just speak everything. You can take notes, take your time to digest the question and then talk. Okay, that's the way it is. So what other things do you need to bring for an interview? Now you need to bring yourself. I know this is funny. You need to bring yourself, because most people, you come to an interview and you are divided. You are everywhere. Your attention is divided. So bring your whole self, your complete self to an interview to avoid distraction, so that you can pay attention to any question that's been asked of you, and then you can respond correctly. So those are just some of the other things you should bring along. Now, I'm going to talk about video interview, since that is what is happening at the moment. So the tip for video interview, I hope everyone can see me. If you have any question, like I said, please drop it in the chat box or in the comment section. Now, you need to research what's the format of the interview. Will it be a live video or a pre-recorded video? For those that are not used, maybe you've not heard about a pre-recorded video interview. Yes, that is another type of interview where they already have, the interviewer has already recorded the question. Over here, I did one recently, they use higher VUE. So it's already pre-recorded. They tell you ask you to play, and then the questions will be read, video, recorded or audio. You just need to talk. After 10 minutes, submit, just press submit. They recorded your voice, and then you go to the next question. So find out what's really the format of the video interview. Will it be live or will it be pre-recorded? Now, you need to choose your location. When I mean location, I don't mean like location, you traveling somewhere. Choose this location in your home or in your office or wherever you're going to be having the interview. For instance, or I'm in my living room now and my interview is taking place here. Yes, my location needs to be where will be like a well-lit environment. Think of the lighting. So the lighting needs to be bright. Then you look at your background. You don't want anything distracting unnecessarily at the background. So no darkness. You don't want where there be so much noise. You can't be having an interview where your kids are, I know we have family, but it's very important. I've actually had a section with somebody like my consultation services, and there was so much noise with the family, with the kids and all that. So you should be able to plan this ahead and make sure that your environment is noise free. It's like you have well lit, and of course the background is not distracting, plain if possible, and very welcoming. Now, you also need to get technical help. Like I said, most of the time you'll be asked to download the app. If you don't have Zoom, if you don't have Skype and any of this app that might be used for your video, it will be very, very important that you get technical help. Get somebody to do this ahead of time, not on the day of the interview. Okay, like I said, I've actually made this mistake myself as well. The Cisco WebEx was a new thing, and I thought it was something I could just be on there, and so I was doing it on the day. It took longer, and I actually got into the interview late, about 10, 5 minutes late. That's because I was struggling with figuring out what this Cisco WebEx is, because I have never used it. So you need to get technical help, prepare ahead, not on the day. And again, be yourself. I know it is an interview, but one thing you should consider is you're talking to somebody, another human. It's just like you want to communicate your mind, you want to have a conversation. So see your interview, a video interview, as a conversation, and be yourself. Don't prove like you have one phonetics or one grammar and trying to speak at the top of your nose, things like that. Like it could actually make you uneasy. So be yourself and just be comfortable. All right. Now, these are common ways. I just want to talk about 4 ways to make a good impression when it comes to interview generally. The first thing is punctuality. It is very important. Apart from making a good impression, if you get to a place, an appointment late, you become unnecessarily tense. I don't know if that happens to you. That happens to me a lot. Like, unnecessarily tense, and you won't be relaxed. You forget things. Any little thing you forget. So you need to be punctual. Get to make sure you are ready, even if it is your room. Minimum of 15 minutes. You are ready. You are seated 15 minutes before the scheduled time. Punctual. It says a lot about your reputation, about your integrity as well. Now, the other thing is positivity and enthusiasm. Yeah, I know some people even go to interview already like dejected, and they have that look of rejection all over them. If you go to an interview and you're looking sober, your interviewer will be like, is everything okay? You don't want them to be asking you question about, have you eaten? Or asking you, are you well? When you go to an interview. So go there with enthusiasm, like, I want this job. Go, let a smile. If you don't know how to smile, please borrow some smile. Like, smile, be positive. Go there with that, with that enthusiasm, and they see this person as ready and interested in the job. Your body language is also very important. Very important. Even in the video interview, it's very important in face-to-face interview, though might not be evident in a telephone interview, but as well in a video interview, because it's being recorded and somebody can see your face. So what are the body languages you need to pay attention to? You can't be having an interview and you do like this. Oh, okay, what I mean is this. Okay, what I'm saying is this. No. So that is like closure. What if you pull it, is like closure, like, don't talk to me, or I'm on my own. So assume a very comfortable, open posture for your interview as well. You could use hand gestures, but don't use it too much that you don't slap your interviewer. or you understand, don't be too dramatic about things, but then you can express your mind, use your hands to talk, use your eyes. Yeah, facial expression is also very important. Maintain eye to eye contact if possible. Now, for video, you might be saying, oh, how easy is that? Don't worry about maintaining eye to eye contact in the video. Just make sure you're looking at your screen. Okay, there's that screen, what's it called, the camera points in your laptop or your phone. Just make sure you're looking at that. That is all that matters. Okay. So what other body language? Don't be too relaxed. Sit right, sit up, like lean forward a bit to show like you are listening. When somebody is listening to you, if somebody is not, you're talking to somebody and the person is looking away, it's a sign of like, this person, I'm not interested. So you pay attention and listen. Now, the other way to make a good impression is clarity. If you are not clear about any question, like feel free to ask, please, could you go say that, like go over that question again? Just say, oh, do you mean, if I get you correct, you can say, if I understand you correctly, you're asking me to say this and this. Like ask questions. It shows that you really want to know the right thing to say, because it would be wrong for you to assume that you know something and you don't know it. So those are like 4 basic ways to make a good impression. Now we are going straight to the common types of interview questions. If you go to Google, you will find over, I don't know, up to 500,000, like so many questions, common interview questions. So I'm just going to talk about a few of them. Okay. Now, they could ask you this: why do you want this job? And basically, I'm speaking from my most recent experience of kind of questions I was asked. Okay, so just let us look at this. Why do you want this job? If somebody asks you, why do you want a job? For those that watch, you could drop this, try to answer in the comment section or in the chat box, and I will see, just to make this thing very interesting and practical. I like activity a lot. So this is a question for you. Why do you want this job? Imagine that you are applying for a staff midwife position in a public hospital. So now, why do you want this job? Drop your answer in the comment section or in the chat box. How do you answer this kind of question? First of all, you must have understood what your job description is. Okay, you must have understood maybe your scope of practice, what you'll be doing, who you'll be reporting to. Now, this is just basically asking you, why are you working? Why are you working? That could be one way of answering the question. So why are you working is because I want to have that sense of fulfillment, because I'm skillful enough, because I care. If it's like I said, staff nurse job, you want to say something that would show like you care about the job, that would show like you want to improve in your practice, not just like, oh, to pay my bills. You can't say, oh, I want the job because I have to fend for my family. So that looks selfish. So, but if you go ahead and say something like, to improve my clinical practice, or, to make me more relevant in my profession, to be able to care for the needy, I know that I have been skilled, I have been equipped, I've been trained to provide care to the sick, and I want to function in this role. Say more things that will be more relevant to your job rather than to yourself. Now, you have another question like this. I'm waiting for your response to that in the chat box in the comment section. Now, this is another question for you. Why do you think you're a good nurse or a good carer? And how can you evidence this? Now, again, answer the question, put it in the chat box. I believe Vitri is looking at the chat box there to make sure that everyone is doing this. So if you're watching this, just answer this question in the comment section, and we can guide you actually if you are not yet there, and give you the right response. Why do you think you're a good nurse or carer? Why? You could say, yeah, because I'm compassionate. Just think about the skills, like the importance of nursing. I'm compassionate, I'm caring, all those attributes. Put it forward. put it forward to that, then that's where you say, oh, that's where I think I'm a good nurse. The other question is, what are you most proud of in your nursing career to date? Now, let me just leave this disclaimer here. I'm going to mute, Richard, please, can you mute that person? So I'm leaving a disclaimer here, like I said, that these are just artist questions. So it's not technically what you will, it's just common questions that, you know, I got from my experience, also, of course, from Google and all that, from some particular apps and all that as well, so that can help you to prepare. Now, tell us about the mistake you have been involved with. Now, you won't say, I've not made a mistake. No, I'm perfect, because nobody is perfect. They don't expect you to. In fact, if you say you haven't made any mistake, then of course they know you are not being honest. So, and of course, you don't want to say something else that will implicate you, or, you know, that will not bring that good part of you. So an example of something I said recently, if this will help, I was asked if I've been involved in any medication error. Now, you know, as significant or as sensitive as that is, you need to be very honest. So this was the response I gave. What I said is that, yes, medication error occurs several times, like often and often in our clinical practice, but it's important that when such happens, it needs to be reported, and like improvement practice should be like emphasized. So on this particular day, you just be specific. On this particular day, I was supposed to co-sign with another nurse, but then I forgot, and I was almost giving it. Then I was reminded. Just make sure that you come back to the right thing. Don't show like you did a mistake. Like that's it. I was called back after this interview to clarify, honestly, to clarify that did you actually make that mistake? Or what I said basically is, I was about to give a medication that I did not co-sign with somebody, but then I remembered and I had to co-sign it before administering it to the patient. You know, that was a mistake for you not even realizing initially, but that you were able to correct it on time. So that is like, you know, a plus to you. So it could be anything. Just think of, even if it is not directly applicable to your profession, it depends on the way you are being asked. I was asked specifically. So if you're asked any mistake, you could say anything about your social life, like you made a mistake about timing or something, you got to an event late and something like that, and it was a big mistake, but then you learned your lesson. So always bring out the positive part, even from the mistake. What you have learned, like, you know, what's that learning curve for you with that mistake? What does compassionate care mean to you, and how do you deliver it? This is a question. You said you are compassionate. So, okay, what does it mean to you? How do you show that you're compassionate? Another question could be, what would others say about you in 3 words? I was asked this question recently, honestly. But what will your colleagues say about you? So this is just like another reflection of yourself, or what you stand out for. Okay, will your colleagues say that you are stubborn? Will your colleagues say that? So it's not more like, it's not just a general response. They're not expecting you to say, oh, they know I'm friendly. Oh, they know I'm friendly. Well, that's a good thing anyway. But specifically to this, they expect you to talk about qualities of like maybe teamwork, you know, where you have worked together with other people. How do people see you in a group? So you should be able to say, they will say that I'm a good team worker. They will say that, you know, I contribute a lot. I try to innovate, I'm innovative, you know, say things that has to do with group, you know, being a member of a group. What are the qualities of a group member or team member? That's what they're asking them. Okay, again, like I said, this is not like an automatic way question that you'll be asked. They are just practice questions. So for specific nursing or midwife role, you should expect job scenarios questions. Job scenarios questions that will ask you like, what did you do in this situation? How did you go about this situation? Can you tell us some of them? They can say, can you tell me a time? Can you tell us a time when you were involved in a conflict resolution. Something like that. Can you tell me a time where you were involved in conflict resolution at your place of work, in your work? So think about it. It's a reflection. Let me tell you, sometimes maybe you have not, nobody has asked you that question before, and then you will be asked. What you just need to do is to relax. Try to, it's usually good for you to speak from experience. It makes it easier, and you flow easily rather than having a previously rehearsed response. Yes, we have some prepared responses you can find in Google anywhere like that. But most of these interviewers, they are very, very particular. They will ask you specific ones. So if you already have something you have rehearsed before and you are saying it won't flow. So be natural, reflect, try to think of, okay, have I actually been in this situation before? And if you have never been in that situation, please be honest enough to say, actually, I haven't been in like specifically in this kind of situation, but something related. Okay, I was asked a recent question. I was asked if I'd worked, if I've been involved in a clinical auditing before. Because it's an interview, everybody, even as a nurse, you do auditing and all that. So it didn't occur to me like, I've actually done a self-auditing before, even though I was doing it on my own. But I just immediately said, to be honest, I haven't practically like been in any team or any committee doing an auditing. But from my basic understanding of auditing, this is what auditing is. This is what you look out for. And I just gave an example. For example, if I want to audit a care plan, you want to audit a care plan. So what are you looking for in a care plan? Your basic understanding of nursing will tell you that every care plan will have diagnosis, assessment, and other implementation. So I just ran through that. Okay, so it is not just about you having a prepared response always. Sometimes it takes you to just reflect on your own personal experience and talk about it. So which brings me to that past experience questions. Okay, so you can ask, like I said, job scenario questions or some past experience questions. Now, for instance, let's look at it. They ask you, what do you find difficult about being a nurse? What do you find difficult about being a nurse? I tell you, even though if you don't love nursing, don't say, nothing is hard though. No, like, don't, you have to, they're asking you what you find difficult, but they're not asking you if you hate nursing. So don't get things difficult, don't get things mixed up. So because you're applying for a staff nurse role and you are saying something negative about the role. So what's the point? So one of the things you can say about this is, although it is a weakness, you now re-emphasize it as a strength. So say something like, working with difficult patients could be very challenging at times, but then you know that you have a duty of care to this patient. You could talk about the long hours of work sometimes could be stressful to your health, but then you have learned a lot of coping mechanism to help you, overcome that. You see what, like you have mentioned a problem, a difficult situation, but you already have a response, like a counter response to it yourself of how you deal with it. So don't just go and talk about, say, oh, it's very difficult, long hours. I can't be working 13 hours. It's very difficult. So now you're taking this job of 13 hours. What will you do with it? So you'll be able to say that, but I've developed several coping measures to help me, resolve that, to plan myself. So you're also selling your points yourself. You're also trying to tell that I'm skillful in time management. I'm skillful, in self-care and all that. If they ask you, do you prefer to work alone or as a part of a team? What will you say? Okay, I need your response in the chat box as well and in the comment section. Just go ahead. Do you prefer to work alone or as a part of a team? This kind of question, they want to test you. Be a team worker. So What do you say in this regards? Like, oh, okay, I prefer to work in a team. Now, you won't say, okay, I don't want to work alone, because sometimes you have to be independent. You know, you have your independent role, you have your own caseload you have to man. At the same time, you know that working in a team makes things more effective, and, you know, time management, and it shows that you have that leadership spirit, coordinating spirit, and all that. So in this, they are not trying to tell you choose one. They're trying to tell you, to ask you, what do you do in this situation, and what do you do in this situation? So that's that. How would you handle a patient who complains constantly of pain? Now, this is like a job case scenario. How would you handle? You find somebody in pain constantly, what will you do? Basically testing your, you know, your residual knowledge in nursing. Okay, you know, say, oh, okay, I just prescribe. What will you do in this? Let me ask, what will you do in this situation? All right, so think about it, get response. What do you contribute to your patients as a nurse? Or somebody said, if one that have been asked is that if you actually, after a full day work, what can people say about you? What will you say you have done to a patient? The other question is, how do you respond when family members ask for your personal diagnosis? You know, maybe they're asking you about a personal diagnosis of a patient, or even yourself, like kind of probing into your personal life. So will you be rude, or will you just, you know, how will you respond to that? So there are a lot of questions. Like I said, you have almost 1 million questions on Google, but these are some of the things from my own personal experience, and of course, from some relevant sites that I use. Describe a situation with a family where you had issues with poor communications. How did you resolve it? So, and this is just like saying, oh, I was asked a particular question like that, honestly, not basically like this, but something related. So you had issues with poor communication with the family. How will you resolve it? So let me just quickly say, first of all, there are 3 A's, okay? You need to, first of all, accept, apologize, and then of course you make aware. That's the 3A I use. Okay, you need to accept, you need to apologize, and of course you need to create more awareness. Now, or if possible, analyze. So I had one more A, it's just coming to me like that. One more A, that's 4 A's. In a situation, maybe crisis management, they're asking you, how do you manage the crisis? How do you manage a conflict? Especially here, it has to do with a family member. Okay, I'm looking at time there. So now this is it. You need to, first of all, accept the concern of the family. Oh, somebody said, oh, why didn't you tell me my mother was being transferred to the theater? Had nobody told me? Nobody, you know, you have a very furious and angry patient. You need to, first of all, accept the concern of the patient, of the family, or whatever. Accept that they have the right to be angry, they have the right to, and then apologize. You cannot apologize. Even sometimes, you know, some families might not be right. You're not apologizing by saying that you are wrong, but you're apologizing for accepting their concern. And then of course, you might want to like bring them to a cool area, a calm area, you know, offer a cup of tea if possible, like Irish love cup of tea. Let me give you that drink. So Irish love cup of tea or coffee. Just say, can I offer you tea or coffee? So offer them that, look for a calm, like, and then analyze. So you could talk about what has happened, ask them to talk about how they feel, to be very specific with their concern, you know, so that I can be able to answer you properly or refer you appropriately. So you have talked about that. And of course, you need to make them aware of if there is anything that you think they should know that they don't know, then you use the opportunity to inform them. They need an update. Okay, update them, things like that. So those are the 4 A's when it comes to managing conflicts, so to say, especially with family. So we find the other question, because of our time, you find it on the screen there. How would you deal with a family member who is not happy with your care of the patient? How would you deal with a family that isn't following care instructions? So especially with this COVID-19, yeah, I need to bring this in. COVID-19 has actually made it very challenging to visit family and all that. So, but if you have this family member that keeps coming despite the restriction, how would you handle this? What will you do as a staff nurse? Okay, we're rounding up now. So now, after you have done the interview, they've told you, oh, thank you so much. That's the end of the question. I think I've missed the slide. Okay, before that, this one should come before that. So now we have come to the end of the interview. Do you have any question for us? This you will always hear at every interview. They'll ask you, do you have any question for us? So don't say, oh, no, that's fine. No, it's okay. Why that does not really score you, like it's not as if it's going to reduce your score, but if you ask questions, it shows your inquisitiveness, like, your curiosity, and that you are really interested in the job. So a major response I give, first of all, my own, is I ask that, do you have any training or any professional development program available for, for your staffs? I would like to know about it. Ask that a question. Ask, like, what's the culture that you just want really to know, like, what's the culture like in the organization? You can ask about mentorship. You can ask about maybe, are you allowed to work overtime? You can ask, there are different, something more specific to your role anyway. You can ask about annual leave. You can ask about their pension. You can ask about, support for families. What kind of support is available for family you are just so concerned about that? Ask job specific related question. Now, should you ask salary? Now, drop your response in the chat box and the comment section. If you are asked, should you ask, how much will I be paid? I want to get your response. So answer that. Do you ask that or not? Now, the other way around is sometimes you are asked, what is your expectation of, like how much do you think you'll be paid? Now, one of the things you have to do, which is part of your preparation, is that you should have done a background check, research on how much, maybe their staff get paid, or like if there's a salary scale for HSC or for Ireland here, there is a standard pay scale for everyone working. So you might have had that, and just say within the general pay scale, that's your expectation. Or they might ask you, what is your present salary and how much do you expect? Will you disclose your present salary? Yeah, if possible, just say presently, I'm on pay scale 3, and I'm hoping, like, with this new role, with my additional skills and all that, I'm hoping that I can get something at pay scale 4. So be very transparent like that. But of course, you must know what you are doing, and don't go and say pay scale 2. You don't want to shortchange yourself as well. Okay. Now, that's about the question. So I'll come back here. The interview is over. We're finished now. The interview is over and all that. So what happens after? This is something most people don't do, is showing appreciation. I know I've said, oh, thank you and all that, you have gone. After the interview, it shouldn't be a bad thing if you were contacted via a phone, maybe a text message. Send a text message. Say, thank you for having me at the interview. I look forward to working with you. Yes, that is very, I did, like I said, most of the things I'm saying here are my personal experience and all that. I actually had an interview, and I just sent an email. They sent an invite email, so I responded to the email. Thank you for having me. I hope to, whatever, like that. It was nice to meet you. It was a pleasure, all those English like that, and I sent it. Do you know that the interviewer actually called the agents, told the agents that if not for anything, that is the reason why they will give me the job. And I was offered the job. Yes, I was offered the job. And he said, if that is the only singular reason, that he has never interviewed anyone that sent an appreciation message or text after the interview. So if there is something you want to add to your skill, yes, get that from me. Now, the other thing is, what will be the outcome? Will it be successful? Will there be rejection? I tell you, prepare for both. Good to be optimistic. Yes, I am a very positive person as well, but you should prepare for both. If I'm successful, some of the questions they will come back to ask you is that how soon will you resume? Well, how many months of notice will you have to give where you work? Things like that. So plan ahead. They want you to resume immediately. All those things if you are successful. If you are successful, you should be prepared to sign some offer letter, look at the offer, read the offer, make sure that it is something that suits you, okay, before you accept the offer. Now, on the case of rejection, which happens anyway, I told you I've had almost 10 interviews and I've been rejected almost but I finally got one. I got two anyway. So in case of rejection, what do? You accept. Now, some will just send you a message, maybe chat or email, so we are sorry for so and like that. Do you say thank you back? If possible, yeah, it doesn't matter. Just respond to that. Thank you for your email. Hope to keep in touch. Like just say, looking forward to hearing from you, something like that. In case they have any more openings or someone in the future, that they should not hesitate to contact you. All right. Some may not respond to you at all. Yes, that happens. They might not even come back again, at all. So accept and move on. If possible, it's possible for you to send an email to say you are looking forward to an update regarding the interview that has been done. Yeah, that's not bad. Okay. So, and of course, some which I've experienced will send you a feedback of your performance during the interview. So this is something that you should not just throw in the bin. You should take it, look at it, and digest it and see, oh, where did I go wrong? And even yourself after the interview, reflect on your performance. Oh, I could have said this, I could have said this, so that to help you to prepare for another one. Now, other further steps might need to be taken, like I said, if you are successful. Sometimes some further steps, they might require you to have a second interview. I have been invited for a second interview, even though I was told I was successful in the first one. But they later called for a second interview. Yes, with a senior person, like maybe their director or their whatever. So, there could be further steps. Sometimes they might need you to clarify some things. I told you that I was called back at the point to clarify a statement I made. Yes, that's to tell you that before they come back, they go through the recordings, video, they go through the recording before they assess you. So there could be further steps. They can ask you to submit some relevant documents like that just before they conclude. So pay attention and prepare for this. All right, so I think that is all about my presentation. Thank you so much for listening, for watching. If you have any question, we will take the questions now. Thank you.